Hello and welcome back to another episode of What the Fuck Is This Book with me, Sophie, and
me, Natalie. Hi, guys.
From the Body, the Blood, the Michelada, a podcast. Because we want to talk books because we have time for books right now.
I know.
And nice. Terrible books though.
Yeah.
So we're looking back on our Twilight series. We started it last week where we talked about our love of Twilight back in the day. And oh my god. We've gone over chapter 1 through 6. That's what we're going to be discussing today. And I have thoughts and opinions. And definitely, I knew I wouldn't enjoy it as much, but now I'm just, literally rolling my eyes.
Oh my god, yes. I am reading this and I'm like, who the fuck did this girl think she is?
Yes. Bella Swan, you ain't shit.
No, she's complete trash, and she's so rude to her dad.
Okay, so... coming from my experience of somebody who has kind of a strained relationship with their father to the point where, we only see each other every now and again, maybe every few months.
Mm-hmm. If that, I think, for you guys.
Yeah, I would never call my dad by his first name. Even just talking about him in conversation with somebody else. So, the fact that she always slips up and calls him Charlie, I'm just why? Why?
I don't understand why there's so much animosity towards him.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
He hasn't done anything to her. He's... And when you're reading it and she's like, I don't even go to Forks after my 14th birthday, I was like, no. Never again.
Put my foot down.
So now they have to go to California. She makes this man take her to vacation in California.
She's a fucking spoiled brat.
That's so mean. That's your dad's hometown. He wants you to see where he's from.
It's never said in the book series, but just based on the way it's always phrased, isn't Renee also from Forks?
Yeah, they're both from Forks.
Yeah, and she just desperately wanted to get out of that town, which I understand that would ruin a relationship too. So yeah. Do they not have any other roots in Forks where
wouldn't their family be in Forks?
You would think.
Didn't they have her very young?
Yeah, it seemed like they were either in the early 20s or straight out of high school type of deal. I always got the idea that they were high school sweethearts. Yeah, same.
And then reality hit, Mm-hmm. But she's so mean to him. Mm-hmm. She talks about him like he's a pathetic puppy,
She talks about her mom in the same way, and she's like, my mom's my best friend. And it's just well, you're really judgmental towards her.
Well, she also, the way she talks about her mom, she loves her mom, but her mom is so flighty.
Yeah, and she's just my mom's a fucking moron. I do the shopping. And shit like that. And I'm just okay.
If both of your parents are so terrible, why are you so hard on one of them and not the other?
Yeah, the other one, you're just it's Charlie. Just her personality. And the other one, well, he's just kind of dull.
It's not like Charlie ever, abandoned her or anything. It sounds like her mom's the one that packed up and left.
Mm-hmm. He seems like the stable parent, surprisingly.
Yeah, and he tries. He's
oh my god. He even, my dad never did this, even though, he had, multiple wives where he was trying to be the family man, where he just has a wall full of pictures of her, and it's just what? That sounds really... He gives a shit. He actually bothered to hang them up.
He bought her a car before she came down.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, he got me a car. Hey, that's a big deal.
My dad didn't get me a car. My dad didn't even teach me how to drive.
She makes fun of him for, not cooking all the time. He's one person that lives alone.
Yeah. Also, like, he's the sheriff of the town, so, like, he doesn't have time, probably.
Yeah, and he put snow chains on her tires without having to be asked.
Oh my fucking god. When I got to that part in the book, I was just like, this is just gonna be me comparing it to my dad's situation. Just, you know, divorced parents. That's the one thing I have in common with Bella Swan. Is when I moved up to Oregon and we had our first snow, instead of like, I asked my dad, hey, what do I do about driving in the snow? He's just like, don't die. He didn't do shit. And her dad goes and he puts snow chains on and all of that. Even though, like, you know, he didn't have to.
Yeah, and like, granted, she does end up liking the truck, but she was so mean to him.
She was just like, I can't believe he would do this. Like, it's just like, oh, so it's gonna be an old car. But then she's like, oh, but that actually suits me, I guess. And now I have money.
She's like, oh, you got me a car from the 60s? And it's like, that sounds dope.
Definitely the way she just thinks about her parents rubs me the wrong way,
like,
but at the same time,
above them.
But at the same time, you know, a teenager would.
Yeah, that's another thing about her. Is like, she's very teenagery.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, in some instances, yes, but there are other instances in the chapters we read where I'm like, you could tell an adult wrote this.
Oh yeah, with all the teenagers, you can definitely tell like an adult wrote this.
I think especially when it comes to talking about high school culture and the way children act in school, definitely 100%. She's an adult. She doesn't get it.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember. But maybe I don't remember. Did I have a high school experience?
You did. You went to high school. I was there.
I didn't have a full high school experience though.
I mean, at any time in high school, it's fine.
That's true. We're
all the same. It's not like high school changes that much from year to year.
All right.
You just know where the buildings are eventually.
Being that I am a I want to say a avid Kindle enthusiast. Oh god. I got a message. I'm afraid to read it.
Who's it from?
I will tell you once we're not recording.
Oh, okay.
And anyways, because I am an avid Kindle enthusiast, I have highlighted notes and I kind of want to go chapter by chapter like we have been for our other book series. But in general, I don't like the way she thinks about her parents.
No, she's rude.
It's very rude.
And it makes me feel like, am I old now? Like, that I, when I was a kid, didn't catch it?
You're just like, the disrespect you are putting on your father's name right now. I do not like it.
I'm like, that's so mean. You're such a bitch.
I do not enjoy the energy that we've created in the studio today, Bella Swan. Okay, so we open up with an epigraph. It couldn't just be, you know, like a preface or preface, whatever, however you say it. Here's the thing about being a reader. Just because you read a lot doesn't mean you know how to pronounce words. Because you've never heard them out loud. Like anyways.
Hermione Granger.
So the epigraph is a Bible quote. Genesis 2:17, by the way. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. I said thou a lot.
There's a lot of thous in there.
Yeah. So definitely, it's supposed to be about temptation, which again, I think solidifies the thought that this is Stephenie Meyer's wet dream, but she can't say
100%. 100%. It's so awkward when you read, like when you get into it and you read it, you're just like,
she's fantasizing about school children.
Yes.
And you're like, no wonder E.L. James like went to town on that.
I
get it.
It's so funny to me reading it because I'm like, this person has no idea how to lay low. Like when she talks about the Cullen, she's like, they're the most beautiful people in all the world and they wear the fanciest clothes and drive the fanciest cars. It's like, yeah, that means I want to fuck all of them. I want to fuck all of them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But like,
Edward was so pretty sitting there. All I could do was stare at him.
Which I don't get because to me, he sounds like the least attractive of them.
Like, really
he's the one they keep locked up in the...
He's definitely the weird one of the group.
Yes. Well, he's the odd man out, so it makes sense, but it's just like, I don't know. Granted, you can't just like pick somebody and be like, that's my girlfriend, I'm gonna kill her. She's gonna be a vampire with me now.
I mean, that's how they picked most of them.
Well, they were already about to die, and then they were like, well, I guess they're dying anyway. We might as well sleep with them. She could have
almost died many times.
Yeah, you're right.
She dumb. She fell like 7 times playing basketball or some shit. Any of those times could have killed her.
Okay, both you and I are clumsy ass motherfuckers. We've never... I'm not even that uncoordinated, you know?
I've never just fallen, like, running up and down a basketball court.
You know where you have fallen?
On my porch?
Yes. But also, remember you used to have those wheelie shoes?
Okay, that's different. I was in wheelie shoes.
Yeah. That's, Calvin says what a lot of his memories of you from, like, middle school to high school are you trying to, like, skate home on those and just seeing you fall.
Yeah, because I'm not good. But guess what? I never gave up.
You're still
now I'm falling in roller skates. Progress.
Good job. You progressed to the actual skates.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Today I was skating and I almost fell, but I didn't. So, haha. Calvin, take that.
It's okay. He hasn't had a job in 10 years, so...
Yeah, all of my memories of Calvin are him sitting in a room at a computer, so... At least I was outside on my wheelie skates.
True. All of my memories of myself are of me playing The Sims when I should have been at school. Yes. Okay, so yeah, definitely. That insinuates that it is indeed a wet dream. Don't try and run from this, Stephanie Meyer. We got you up against the wall. Stop it. All right. So the preface is it's basically a scene from later on in the book when we're in the middle of everything, and it's Bella's inner like monologue about I never thought about how I would die, but you know what, going out in somebody else's place seems like a noble thing to do, and you're just like, but knowing what I know, having read this book and remembering what happens, was she even dying in somebody's place?
No, it's not. She's trying to make it seem more noble than it is. She's not dying in someone else's place. She's dying in her own place. It's her own. Because they're already just all protecting her. No one else was ever in danger.
Because I don't think. Okay, so in this part that we're talking about, some vampires, well, one in particular, caught the scent of Bella and they're like, she fucking smells good, I'm gonna eat that bitch. And the Cullens are like, no, you can't eat her, she's ours. And then they're like, grr, and the other ones are like, grr. And then they're like, okay, if you won't let us eat her, we're gonna come after you and your entire family and the little dog too. And yeah, that's what happens. Jacob? Yes. Yep. Thank you. I'm glad you got that. She's not dying in anyone's place. She just happened to smell good. So it's they got a craving for her. Just like
Bella is, she's just trying to make herself seem more important than she actually is.
She's trying to make herself feel better about the situation. She's like, well, if I sacrifice myself, less people will get hurt. And you're just like, but they're vampires. Were they even in danger in the first place? In fact,
you're the only human in the situation.
Yeah. Like, sure, he said he was gonna come after your dad and all of that, but was he really? He just said that because he wanted to eat you.
Yeah, there's literally like no reason for him to have ever gone towards anything else.
Yeah, because if he wanted to just eat, random people in town, other than the Santa Claus that dies in the movie, like, he would have eaten them already. You just, I guess like a top sirloin.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Kobe beef. Oh, no, she's not a Kobe.
No.
She's definitely like that, like that prime rib special they have at that hotel in Old Vegas, where it's like really good, but it's still really cheap.
Yeah.
It's like that. How much was it? Like $9? That was a good deal.
It was a great deal. I can't wait till we can go back to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's what Bella is to vampires. A good deal. I mean,
she's clumsy as shit, so it's not like she can get away from you.
Yeah, they don't have to put that much effort in.
Low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That just happens to be tasty.
She just happens to have the Cullens protecting her because one of them wants to put it in her, but has a weird moral compass about it.
Why? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, we have to wait till marriage. Why? You are vampires. You're over 100 years old. Like, does marriage even mean anything to you?
Yeah, I don't know how things work out. Also, if you're vampires and you've lived for so long, why would you just continue to go through the cycle of going to high school? Why not just say, you're all in college or something?
Exactly. Why not just do something else?
Just...
Like, why do you have to keep up charades? Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, yes, you have to move every now and again just because, you're not aging.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, baby faces exist.
I think they give people too much credit because people are not going to pay attention.
Yeah, they really don't.
Not care.
If you're not involved with them, they don't give a shit. In fact, I would say them putting themselves through high school many times. It makes
it weirder.
Yeah, it just makes it you more, like, you have more of a spotlight on you.
Yes. Also, like, Carlisle being a doctor. Why? You're 23 or something. It doesn't even make sense that you're a doctor.
Super early.
Pick something else.
It's so weird because all of these characters physically are younger than us now.
I know.
Before, you're just like, oh, I could see that being pulled off, and now you're just like, no.
Yeah, before you're like, oh yeah, like that makes perfect sense when you're like.
They would just seem so mature. 20, like, no, 23, 24. That's really young for a doctor.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that doctor at all. I'd be like, no, sir. When did
they just walk across the stage, man? Are you like?
They would say, this is the best doctor in town, and I'd be like, that's not good.
Is he pre-med? Like,
yeah, I would be really confused. I would have lots of questions. I'd be like, can I get a different doctor?
He doesn't even have stubble yet.
Yeah. Who let him adopt?
I'm sorry for being ageist right now, but this is the truth. My dog is even upset. Listen to this. Upset.
Yep. Yeah. He's like, this is bullshit.
Okay, so after, her weird inner monologue of not dying or thinking about dying and sacrificing herself or whatever, I'm rolling my eyes. We actually get the introduction to Bella Swan, our main character of this book, who is also a background character. We will come to find. Just because she's meant to be kind of a blank, no-face person that you put yourself into. Mm-hmm. I don't think Stephanie Meyer intended for that, but that's what happens because she's literally the least interesting person in this entire series, and it's centered around her. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. She's so boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, reading this was difficult.
Yeah. You're just like, you have to force yourself to do it. I literally not even 10 minutes before we hit record, finish chapter 6 because I kind of put off reading it this weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I was like, when did it get interesting?
When does things happen? No,
I was trying to figure out. I was like, why did she even move to Forks? Like, I don't even remember. And then in the first, they never really answer that question.
I mean, she has like a response for it that she tells people, but like even she doesn't believe that's why she went, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just like her mom is remarrying and she's upset that she's not getting the attention she used to get. That's what I think the actual reason is.
Yeah, because she never says that, but like
that's what it is.
That, as somebody who's watched their parents get into new relationships and things and had to like go through the emotions of it, I could understand what she's doing, but she never says that's what she's doing.
But that's what she's doing, right? Like, yeah. She's just throwing a temper tantrum.
Essentially, she's just like, "Oh, you miss Phil when he's on the road being a minor league baseball player."
Well, why don't you
get
just
it,
go
Mom?
With Phil then?
Why don't you just go and follow him to Florida? I could live with Dad. And then she probably said that, and like her mom was like, "Oh, you would do that?" And then Bella was like, "Oh, I didn't think you would actually, leave."
Yeah, and then as soon as she was like, "Really?" Then she got offended that her mom would be like, "You don't want me around? Fine, I'll leave then." Even though it was her decision and she made the choice and she brought it up.
It's like that one time I decided I was upset with my life and decided to move to Oregon.
Yes.
Out of the blue, even though when I was first offered, the room there, I thought it was a joke.
Uh-huh.
I remember even telling you, can you believe my dad said that?
What a piece of shit.
Like I would ever consider living with him, and then a month later I agreed to it. But that was me being fed up with my job, I think.
I think that
amongst other things.
Yeah, it's just a culmination of like.
You're just like, oh, if I could get a new start in a new place, maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll stay. I did not stay.
You are leaving.
I did not meet a vampire in the forest.
Yeah, that's where it went wrong. That's why Oregon didn't work out for you.
Yeah, it rained too much, so I understand her dislike of the rain.
But she knew that. You don't go from Arizona to Forks, Washington, and and she knew it rained there. That was the whole point.
I knew it rained there. I mean, I usually like the rain, but it is very excessive in comparison to what we're used to as people in the southwest of the country.
That was another weird thing, is that she seemed, in the beginning, she's like, "I love sunlight. I love gravel.
No, you don't. You pale as fuck."
She's like, "I love the gravel under your feet, and I love the sun. Sunlight is amazing."
Okay, you know what what Bella Swan is? So you know what cottagecore is. Everyone knows what cottagecore is. But have you I haven't seen like a specific hashtag for it, but have you seen like those cottagecore chicks that are like desert cottagecore? Mm-hmm. That's what Bella Swan is. She's a desert cottagecore witch. Honestly, if they just made her a witch, she would be so much more interesting.
Oh my god.
Give her some succulents to take care of, okay?
Wait, did you see the moon tonight? It's so pretty.
It's a full moon. Manifest things, man.
I will. But yeah, it's a full moon, and then I think Jupiter and Venus are visible.
Well,
so pretty.
That's so pretty.
But yeah, I was like, you can't tell me you love the sunlight and then you're pale as fuck and you never go outside and you're not even an outdoorsy person.
Ooh, also,
clumsy people do not like going outside.
I have a retraction from this last episode that we recorded.
Oh, okay.
I didn't expect it because I remember seeing this sign, but this could be just another Mandela effect thing, glitch in the Matrix. So I said, this is my note that I wrote while I was reading. Mm-hmm. Let the record show that I literally know nothing. Though you can cross over into Washington from a bridge that starts in Astoria, Oregon, Forks and La Push are on the northern side of Washington state. So I don't know what the fuck that sign said.
Oh.
I swear it said like Port Angeles on it, but it wouldn't make sense for it to. Just based on where it is.
Maybe because like Forks is so popular, they advertise it too early to kind of get people to go into.
Because it's like at the very
Washington?
bottom of the state that you see this. Because it's like right as you're. Because the border that I'm talking about from Oregon to Washington, it is bordered off by the Columbia River, and there's, I think it's one of the longest bridges for its type of bridge in the world. And they advertise, and I swear I saw it said Port Angeles this way.
Like,
it's on Highway 101. It is
to this big ass bridge. It goes over the water. I could write ads for people.
You should write ads.
Yeah.
It'd be so good. You could be the next coming of Madnet.
Have you ever seen this big ass bridge? Come on down.
It's vampires.
There's vampires.
You want to see the Goonies and some vampires? Drive up this bridge.
Go over this bridge. It's real big, guys.
And real big. But yeah, so I got that wrong. I'm sorry, I didn't think I was wrong. I earnestly remember it as saying Port Angeles. So if you go to Astoria, you're not gonna see fucking Port Angeles or La Push on the same trip. You might be able to, because it's not a long drive in comparison to, you know, some other drives crossing the state of California, maybe. But I think it's like a 3-hour drive from where I said.
Oh, well, that's still not terrible.
Yeah, but just don't take my word for anything. I have a trash mentality, you know. But I still be judging these children in this here book.
Oh yes. Well, we're allowed to judge these children because they are not real.
Yes, that's true. Also, like I said, she completely disrespects her parents in the way she thinks about them. This is one quote about her mother.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I said, this is a quote about her mom. How could I leave my loving, erratic, harebrained mother to fend for herself? And you're just like, Bella, I don't think you're, you know, remembering this accurately. Mm-hmm. Your mom took care of you. She dragged you from Forks to Phoenix. Somebody was paying for wherever you were living.
Yeah.
Give your mom more credit than that. And then when she mentions like getting the car for the first time, and Charlie's trying to tell her, oh, I got it from our friend. What's his face? What's Jacob's dad's name?
Billy or something?
Oh, is it Billy? Billy Black? Yeah, Billy Black. Yeah. He gets it from Billy, and he's like, yeah, remember we used to go fishing with him? He's in a wheelchair now, and she's like,
okay.
She's like, that's probably why I didn't remember him, the whole thing about the fishing. Mm-hmm. I do a good job of blocking painful, unnecessary things from my memory. And it's like, girl, fishing isn't even that bad.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Fishing isn't terrible. Like,
it's boring.
If you don't like it, you don't like it. But he was just trying to spend time with you.
Mm-hmm. And, like, of course, he would take you to go see his, like, one friend that has a kid.
Yeah.
He was trying, Bella. Maybe now that, you know, spoiler, she is a mother, she'll understand now.
Yeah.
But probably not. Because is she even a mother? Is she a mother, Natalie?
I don't know. There's one that I wanted to, there's another quote that I have that she said about Charlie that just made me so sad.
Oh, go on.
It was impossible being in this house not to realize that Charlie had never gotten over my mom. It made me uncomfortable.
It's like, fuck you, bitch.
Like, that's so mean to say about your dad.
Also, I highlighted the same thing. That was literally the next quote.
Aww.
Best friends.
I was like, that's such a harsh thing to say about this man.
Well, especially knowing that she left him very abruptly. It's like, of course he's never gonna get over it. And then, like, you know, they have a kid together.
Yeah, she took his whole life away.
Yeah, she took his like life by the balls and castrated him.
Yeah, poor guy. Like, what do you want? What did you want your dad to become, Bella?
She just wanted him to move on, just to make her more comfortable, I guess.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like, if your dad had moved on, you would be angry. If your dad hadn't moved on, you were angry.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's just, I just don't like how she thinks about Charlie. He's much better than that. He's never done anything. Like, she's never insinuated that like he was a bad father or unattentive or anything. You know, he never hit her or was mean to her. He was just a shy guy who didn't know how to talk to his daughter because she only came around once or twice a year. Yeah.
To no fault of his own. It's not like he didn't want her around. He goes out of his way for her. He goes all the way to California for her. And Charlie doesn't like, he likes his comforts.
Yeah. I mean, he got used to his little routine because, I mean, he had nothing to, fucking change it.
Yeah.
He didn't have a kid there. He just got caught in the routine of work and sleep, eat, home, bye.
And that's what you do. Maybe he was going through a depression. Like, his wife left him.
With their child.
So, yeah, he got into a routine. It's all he could do.
Probably the only thing that kept him going on. You know what? Bella's gonna learn in New Moon, isn't she?
She sure is.
All about depression and the routines you have to do to get through it.
Yeah, depression eats you up.
You fucking bitch.
Depression is not kind.
It is not. And that's why half of the people I know are on Xanax. Not sponsored.
So then Bella starts going to school. And she's just like, why is everyone looking at me? Everyone's totally looking.
There's like 300 kids at this school. Of course they're all gonna look at you.
Yeah,
like,
you're brand new.
They've never seen you in this town before, which I have to doubt, because if she's, been there on and off, surely somebody must have met her at one point.
That was another of my favorite things, is then when she's talking about the Cullens and she's trying to get the lowdown on them. She was like, they couldn't have grown up here. I would have known them. And it's like, would you have? From the 2 days you spent in Forks a year, and then you stopped going there when you were 14? Would you have known them? You guys would have crossed paths?
You barely know any of these people from the school, and you... Yeah. So there's no way.
You don't recognize any of these children, but you expect to have noticed these people.
Fucking Bella is rude as fuck. She can't remember a goddamn name to save her life. Yeah, I know people are sometimes bad at names, but if they're talking to you, you remember.
Inviting her into their social circles, and she doesn't even bother to learn their names.
This is where I start to realize that Stephanie Meyer, when she sat down to write some of these filler characters, she really did not think about them, give them much thought. She was just like, I think a girl named Jessica would act like this.
Well, she was just like, oh, Bella's just so important. Bella's just so... Everyone wants Bella. She's so important and so interesting that you don't even know the other characters or care about them. The thing she says about the girl Jessica that becomes her first friend at school is a little, rude. She tries to make her sound unremarkable. I get that she's supposed to be plain, but Bella is plainer, which I'm just like, what? Yes, Bella's super plain. She's described as a
this is Jessica's description. She was a tiny, several inches shorter than me, 5 feet 4 inches. But her wild, curly, dark hair made up a lot of the difference between our heights. I couldn't remember her name, so I smiled and nodded as she prattled about teachers and classes. I didn't try to keep up. She's literally trying to help her, you know, tell her about like, hey, watch out for this teacher. He kind of sucks. This one's great. All these people are in these classes. They're kind of cool. But also, she's just like, Bella's like, I don't care.
The description to me is funny because she's several inches shorter, but Bella's 5'4", so what does that make this person, like 4'10"?
Maybe.
She's like a tiny ass person.
Also, because of the wild, curly, dark hair, I just picture characters from My Big Fat Greek Wedding with how big their hair gets.
But I'm just
like the cousin what? Nikki.
Yeah, I'm just like, what are you describing to me?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. And then that's when she sees the Cullens for the first time when she's having lunch with Jessica in the cafeteria with all these other brandos who decided to sit with them because, oh my god, there's a new girl.
Yeah, they're just trying to be like nice. They're trying to be really her friend.
And she's to like, welcome her.
Ew. Yeah, they're not even like going out of their way. It's not like they're putting down like a welcome wagon for her or anything. They're literally like, oh, do you want to see what does at lunch? And she's like, oh, all of these townies.
They're like just trying to make her feel welcomed, like, so she doesn't sit alone.
There's like 12 juniors. Do you just want to be our friend or not?
It's like basically their little clique, Bella and like two of the Cullens, or two or three of the Cullens. I don't even know.
All the Cullens are there.
Yeah. And she sees them across the cafeteria, all sitting together, looking very model-esque. And then she gets the lowdown.
And I love that Jessica's like trying to have a whole conversation with her, like they're trying to talk to her, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up! Who are those people?" She's like, "I don't give a shit about whatever you're talking about. Who are those people?"
And when she's talking to them, talking to Bella about the Cullen, she's like, oh yeah, they're all like adopted and together, and like they're the doctor's kids. And she says that Carlisle is either in his 20s or early 30s. And I'm just like, being somebody who is about to be in their 30s, who is in her last year of her 20s, how the fuck would you get away with being the parent of children? Well, basically adult children.
Also, like, if they're all fucking each other, why has social services not been called?
Why are these teachers concerned about what's going on at this house?
That's weird. Even if they're not related, that's super weird.
Yeah, it really is.
And then I love that, like, Jessica's like, oh, well, they adopted children because I don't think Miss Carlisle can have children.
At least she kind of made an excuse for why she would have all these adopted children that are basically the same age as her.
Yeah. But in the book, like, she says that Jessica said it as if it's an insult. And I was like, that's weird. That's a weird thing for a teenager to, like, insult you about. I don't necessarily think it's an
insult, but it's just her trying to rationalize a kind of weird detail about them.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was just like her just telling Bella the situation, and Bella just making up her own nonsense in her brain.
Yes.
Because if they've been there like 2 years, you're like, yeah, they're just like weird. They're just weird. I don't know.
Oh, and we have to definitely quote the first little bit about Edward. This is Jessica talking to Bella, telling her everything. That's Edward. He's gorgeous, of course, but don't waste your time. He doesn't date. Apparently none of the girls here are good looking enough for him. She sniffed. A clear case of sour grapes. I wonder when he'd turn her down. But like, wow. Edward, honestly, I could get why most of the townies don't like them. They're kind of assholes to everyone.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to keep people out. So it's just like, this is another reason why I'm like, why would you put yourselves in high school all the fucking time?
If you are just so tired of having to deal with kids all day, like, why do you do it then?
Yeah, there's literally, you could do everything. You could be fucking homeschooled. You're rich enough.
Go live in the woods by yourself and don't come out. Mm-hmm. You can become like a weird urban legend in the woods. Like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe they're Bigfoot.
Ooh, exactly. What if they're the Mothman?
Oh, maybe.
What if they're the blue people of Kentucky? Like, they can do anything they want.
But they decided they would just be high school teenagers.
And they just look forever tired. Like, they look like they've never slept a day in their lives. See, that's another reason, like, I would call social services.
Based on the description, even though they're supposed to be extremely attractive, they sound malnourished.
Yeah, that's why, like, who's not calling social services? Like, we need to get someone out here.
Maybe they dress too fancy for that. Mm-hmm. And that just makes me question whether the adults that work at this school really give a shit about their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we get into chapter 2. It's more things that happen in school, it's really the school days are dull. She hates math, apparently, which I don't get because she also really, really fucking loves science. And to me, they've always gone hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand, and I think it's so funny that she's like, math is the worst. And I'm like, you're in trigonometry, though. Like, you took a lot of math.
Mm-hmm. Like, why did you, if you didn't like math so much, why did you go so far?
Yeah.
Literally, you could have just stopped at algebra or geometry.
Yeah, like, you're the one that kept going with something you hate.
Most people don't have to take trig, so that's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. Oh, also, this is just another one of those Bella is a bitch inner monologues. So Mike Newton, who is like who she described as the nicest person at her school, which I don't think is accurate. I think Jessica should be right up there with her. She describes Mike Newton as basically a golden retriever as far as personality goes. Mm-hmm. Anyways, he walked her to, I guess, their biology class that they shared together. And she says, then he smiled at me wistfully and went to sit by a girl with braces and a bad perm. And you're just like, Bella, stop judging other women. Stop pitting us against each other. You are so salty about everything. Just go back to your mom.
Yes. Like, if you hate it so much, you left no one kicked you out of Phoenix. Your mom's emailed you like 700 times, please come home. At any time. Like, you did this. You did this. So I don't understand her at all.
Yeah. And it's also in... Wait, was it this chapter or the chapter before it? I must have not highlighted it. Where she has her first interaction with Edward and he's just like, oh my god, this bitch stinks.
I think that's like the first or second chapter.
Okay, so it's somewhere around here.
It's like her first day of school.
Yeah. And literally
And then she like cries her way home. Why? Why do you even give a shit?
Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not always about you, Bella. Even though it was about her. But like, I don't know. Maybe I don't remember being a teenage girl. Maybe it's just like, well, they obviously hate me. Mm-hmm. When literally it could be so many other things.
Yeah. Like, you need to chill and just like try to have a good time. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, she was really offended that after their first interaction in their like little biology class, she walked into the office to hear him trying to get transferred out of the class. And honestly, if it was such for him, if it was such an issue, why would you even come back to school? If you're
why didn't he just like drop out?
You know you're a you know he's a vampire. Why wouldn't he just leave? Just leave. You could have left. You are hundreds of you're not hundreds of years old. You're like 100 years old.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's why you don't have to keep playing pretend, even if it is for your family. They could have just easily said, oh, he reconnected with his parents or something, because, you know, he's an adopted kid.
Yeah.
Something like that. And you know what? People would have believed it if they already believed the whatever story you're telling them. Anyways, stupid. Cullens learn how to lie. Also, I'm going to continue to say this throughout this book. Everyone in this book needs to learn how to lie. They are all terrible liars. You know, it doesn't take that much to be a good liar, but a lot of people fail at it. And it's disrespectful.
It's also so funny to me how much emotion Edward has in his face for like 170-year-old man.
Yeah.
Who has been lying this whole time. Like, why do you allow so much emotion on your face?
Yeah, just turn
why
it
do you
off.
even find... And I don't understand. So he like starts to find her interesting and he's like, oh, you're going to Seattle. Why do you care? You're so much older than her mentally. Like, don't children just annoy you?
Yes.
I'm not that much older than Bella, and I would find her so annoying.
Well, in comparison to Edward, yes, you're not that much older.
Like, so I have a cousin who's high school age. I have two cousins that are high school age. It is so hard to pay attention to their stories. And I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to insult them. It's just that their problems are stupid. Like, they have children problems.
You're so disconnected to that way of life at this point.
Yes, and like their thinking is very childish. You know, like when you're that young, you don't really realize that the world extends past you. Yeah, you don't know how to rationalize things because you're very much in the you mindset, which makes sense. It's a survival skill when you're at that age. Yeah, but it's just like, get over it. But yeah, but I'm not like sitting here thinking like, I wonder what's going on in their head. No, it's raging hormones. It's raging hormones. They're obsessed with themselves, and not like in a mean way. But all kids are obsessed with themselves. That's just how kids are. Anyways, like after my second or third time through high school, I'd be like, I'm done with this. Bye, guys. Y'all can stay in high school. I'm gonna pretend to be your cool older sibling, I guess. Even though I look younger than you, and I probably am physically, but like whatever, it's fine. Yeah. So they went from that to that interaction in the office where he's like, I fucking hate this bitch and peace out. Even though he doesn't say that, but Bella assumes he hates her, which I mean, fair. It's fair, but also like it's not necessarily about you. You know what? Imagine if Bella had an older sibling to help her rationalize things. Imagine where she would be. Yeah. Imagine if she had just let one of these other kids be her friend. Yeah, an actual friend instead of like a face value friend. Yeah, she basically just has them around to like make her feel better about herself. Yes, just so she doesn't seem like such like a loner, weird outcast or something. Yes, like they could have genuinely been her friend. But nah, she cut that off. She every time they would tell her something she didn't like, she'd be like, bye. Or be like, oh, well, she's just trash. They just don't understand. And then, the next time she meets up with Edward after I think he disappeared for a week and settled the fuck down. The first thing she does, because they have to do like a little mini assignment together because they're lab partners. She's like, did you get contacts? And it's just like, Bella, did you even actually look at him the first time? Just keep that to yourself.
You don't need to make it obvious, but she's learning. She's still a child.
Yeah.
She's just definitely she's not a smooth talker. I'm not a smooth talker, but even I'm like, don't make it obvious. Don't make it obvious.
And it's like, if you're trying to work with him, do a better job.
I just saw the other line I highlighted from this.
What was it?
So, the conversation, he's actually trying to play nice and all of that, and he's just asking her about herself. And she's like, just basically explaining how she ended up here in Forks.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, oh yeah, I'm not really interesting or anything. Just, moved in with my dad so my mom could, live that newlywed life a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she says, I'm not like other girls. I had to highlight that.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke for me and Natalie. We had a supervisor who, she was Filipino, so she had an accent, and she would constantly talk about how she was different from other girls, and she would constantly say that and then allude to something. Be like, I'm not like other girls. I didn't wear dresses and shit like that.
Because she was always like crazy, like, I'm not like other girls. I've never eaten cheese before.
It was always something like really weird. Mind you, she's Filipino, but she was primarily raised here, so it didn't make sense for there to be such a disconnect between our cultures.
But like the disconnects between our cultures didn't even make sense. I'd be like, oh yeah, when I grew up, we ate government cheese, and she'd be like, oh yes. It was very hard when I came to this country. So you see, in my country, I had my own chauffeur, and when I came here, I had to drive for myself. Like, okay, so like different. These are different situations.
Yeah. So I just had to highlight that because of the principle of it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So that was a great line by Bella. Way to go, Bella. You really did that one.
I feel like Arwen is probably thriving in quarantine.
Honestly, probably. Good
She's
for her.
She's probably just doing so well right now.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So this next chapter. It's the chapter with snow in it.
Oh.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be an exciting chapter, but then this shit hits the fan, I guess.
It's like the only chapter where fun things happen.
I highlighted this because it disgusted me. That morning when she, before school, she said, I threw down a quick bowl of cereal and some orange juice from the carton. And those things just really don't go together. I wonder if she drinks orange juice after she brushes her teeth too. Like, you don't want orange juice immediately after eating cereal. I just hate it. I hate it. So, and she drank it from that carton.
It's like a TV breakfast, like the all-American breakfast kind of thing.
Why couldn't she just say, I ate breakfast? I didn't need the specifics because now I'm judging you.
I would never drink orange juice because there's already milk in my cereal. I don't want to drink more.
Have you heard of those monster people that eat their cereal with orange juice in it?
No, that's not real.
That's a thing, Natalie.
That's not real.
I've seen it.
I don't believe you.
I've seen it.
No.
I've seen it. And I hate it. I hate it so much. People are monsters. Monsters. And you know what? I know in To Kill a Mockingbird, Calpurnia tells Scout you shouldn't judge the way people eat, but I can't help it. I can't help it.
I can't help it.
You disgust me. you know why that whole thing came up. They invited a classmate over who happens to be poorer than them, and because back in those days you would eat lunch at home but then go back to school. And he ruined his lunch by pouring like maple syrup all over it. And she was like, the fuck is this kid doing? And then California said, Scout, shut the fuck up. Mind your business. You can't judge people.
Being a bitch.
But yes, I digress. This is where we find out Charlie put on the snow chains, and it made Bella emotional, which good. Like, your dad does care you about. But that's quickly like erased because suddenly a van is veering towards her, about to smash her against her old rickety ass car.
And we're like, thank God.
This is how this book ends. Why did I spend money on this? But it's a good for them. Good for the people of Forks. They don't need Bella Swan.
Thank God. Yeah.
And Edward out of nowhere fucking saves her. He says
because a car is veering towards her. Yes.
Yeah. He says he was right next to her the whole time, but no, he was like 4 cars away. But somehow he managed to like fucking
suspicious.
So suspicious. He like grabbed her and like used himself as a shield to like plow into the next car, but then the van still veered in their direction, and it sounds like he got smashed up against it too, but he was basically a barrier between that car and Bella. And yeah, he saved her life. And Bella's like, the fuck? He has superhuman strength and speed? But then nobody...
She was like, hey, you can't do that. And he was like, what are you talking about?
That didn't happen.
Like, Bella, you hit your head pretty hard. Like, what are you even talking about? And she was like, no. He's like, Bella, shut the fuck up.
She's like, but no, that... physically impossible. I know how the rules work, and these are not the rules.
Shut your mouth. Just enjoy.
Also, it sounds like because of what happened in the parking lot with Bella and Tyler's van and Edward and all of that, school was canceled for the day.
Right?
Because literally everyone in the school went to like wait in the waiting room to make sure Bella was okay. Which I don't even... Why the fuck did they give a shit that if Bella was okay? She was like pretty much uninjured. And while Tyler, the guy who was driving the van, is literally like bleeding out of the head or something. But he's like,
maybe because she was the one that was like going to get hit by the car, you know?
Maybe.
They probably assumed like she got smashed. Like I would have called you and been like, Sophie, do you want to come see a dead body? And you'd be like, hell yeah.
And then we would go and see a dead body, but we'd slip and slide around the parking lot because it just snowed, trying to see a dead body. And
then when we'd be like, she didn't die, and we'd be like, what? That makes no sense.
That's fucking crazy. What do you mean Edward Cullen was there? No way. That guy doesn't like anybody. He wouldn't touch people. He wouldn't be having a conversation. Well, and this was after this encounter. By the way, she's met Carlisle Cullen, the doctor, and she thinks he's being shady too with the way he responded to, oh, it's crazy how Edward was able to like save my life like that.
No way. Crazy. Bye.
Yeah. Great response, Carlisle.
Yeah.
And after
he just,
that,
laughs at her. He's like, ha ha ha.
You crazy kids.
Crazy kids.
So yeah, that entire chapter was the accident. And that was the first night she dreamt of Edward. I have problems with this because what we find out later in the book. I'll come back to it though. I got problems. So after the car accident, Tyler is trying to make nice with Bella. And she's just like, well, now I got another motherfucker sitting with me at the cafeteria table trying to get my attention, and I don't like it. And you're just like, Bella, he nearly killed you. He just feels bad.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what I got from it at the beginning. Apparently he was into her, but like, I guess that's weird way of trying to get an in with the person you like. Whatever.
That's another like weird thing that I think it doesn't matter at what age you are. Like, hitting someone with your car does not a first impression make.
No.
Like, if I almost hit someone with my car, I would never talk to them again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that sounds horrible, but I would never fucking talk to that person again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, let alone ask them to ask me to a dance.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
And I'm like, no.
So basically, the weeks following the accident, Edward ignores her some more. Because Bella was like, I want a fucking explanation. And Edward's like, no.
Like, I don't know you shit, stranger.
I saved your life. That's all you gotta need to know. Need to know.
Yeah.
And this is the chapter everyone's like, oh, there is a girl's choice dance. Y'all, Bella, you should consider going with me.
Yeah, everyone wants Bella.
Dick.
It's like, why?
Mm-hmm. And this I want to say is a good example of how you should lie and be consistent about lying to the point where it becomes the truth. Bella, great example. This is how you follow through with lying.
Yes.
So, Mike Newton asks Bella to the girl's choice dance, and she's like, no, my boy, you should go with Jessica, because that sounds like a good idea, but me, I'm gonna be in Seattle that weekend.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, you can't go any other weekend? She's like, nah. But this is where, this is my advice when it comes to lying about something, like where you're busy. If you're gonna plan, like actually end up going somewhere, make it more solidified by like, oh yeah, my mom is coming to visit me from out of town and we're going to Seattle for the day. That way people are like, whoa, why can't you just, wait until another date to go? Because then nobody questions it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're solid. But I mean, she's actually planning to go to Seattle now, so whatever.
But even so when Edward's like, oh, I'll go with you, like, just tell him no. Like, you don't have to make up a reason and then be like, well, now I'm stuck, he has to come with me. Like, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, see, if she had just been like, oh, no. I'm going with the person, sorry.
Yeah.
Would have been a no, but then I guess we wouldn't have a story or whatever.
Then I would just be like, hey, actually, I don't want to fucking spend time with you because you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go do my shopping by myself. Fuck you very much, bye.
Yeah.
Like, you don't owe him anything.
Mm-hmm. And then, why was I about to call him Daniel? Forgive me. I think I'm drunk already. So,
Ooh, what are you drinking?
Oh, so I got one of those fruit punch Snapples.
Ooh.
And then I mixed it with 2 ounces of the summer solstice gin and got like a dash of orange bitters in there.
Uh-huh.
It's real good.
Nice.
That's it. I mean, it's sweet as fuck, but when I sat down to have the drink, I could definitely smell the gin, so it's strong.
Oh, good, you're fine.
Yeah. But I mean, I can't taste it. So, we good. Anyways, Edward decides to talk to her, and they just kind of have like a back and forth. Because she's like, you need to tell me what's going on. He's like, I don't need to tell you shit. She's like, but you need to. But also, like, I need you to like either talk to me or not talk to me. We can't be doing this like sometimes you talk to me, sometimes you don't talk to me. Like this is confusing. Which fair. You need to know where you stand with people.
Yes, I agree.
And then she suggests that he regrets saving her, and he's like, how dare you? I saved your life. I would never regret saving somebody's life. You ignorant slut.
You stupid bitch. Why would you? How dare you? We all know that if you had been smushed there, I would have taken your mangled corpse back to my house and eaten you. So I'm glad that didn't have to happen.
So after school that day, after they have their little bickering session, Edward decides to cut her off in the school line to get out of the parking lot.
It's so stupid. Like, why?
He basically blocks her in while he waits for his siblings to get into the car. Which, by the way, side note, how come they all take one car if they rich as fuck?
I don't know.
So, like, how do all 5 of them fit in a tiny ass Volvo?
Yeah, because Emmett's fucking big.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, why? Like, in the movie,
Emmett's a big guy. In
the movie, they fix this. They come in 2 cars. But like in the book, I'm like, how did you make it work? Are you in a clown car? Because Emmett is fucking big. Because like, wasn't one of the descriptions later like he's the size of a fucking bear? Like, how does he fit?
He's a big dude.
Anyways, Edward blocks her in while he waits for his sibling, and while they're blocked in, everyone behind Bella, Tyler, who nearly hit her with his car, he's just like, "Aw, hey girl, you want to go to the dance with me?"
And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding? Do you remember that time when you tried to hit me with your car?"
No,
like, I'm not down.
Like, you didn't even have insurance to cover the damage. I had to pay for the taillights myself.
What if I had fucking died, Taylor? No, I don't want to go to the dance with you.
She would call him Taylor instead of Tyler.
Is his name Tyler?
Yeah.
Sorry. She would though. She'd be like, no, Brock. She doesn't know his name.
Oh my god. But yeah, and then this is where she's like, oh, this Edward Cullen's up to some funny shit. Because, like, she noticed he's laughing in the car ahead of her. So there's, like, no way he could hear the conversation.
You know what she should have done? Like, granted, she would have no idea that he's paying attention. She should have just grabbed him and be like, you know what, I will go to the dance, and then made out with him right there in the parking lot while she was blocked it.
Granted,
like, fuck you.
She was a teenager and insecure, so probably she wouldn't have. But
no, she wouldn't have, but, like, knowing what she knows later in the book,
it would have been great.
I would have done that just to be an asshole.
Anyways, but yeah, she turned down all the people that asked her out to the dance, and people were mad. But then Jessica was like, "Oh, girl, look, Mike asked me out. Isn't that great?"
And she's like, "Yeah, girl, good for you. Get it, girl."
And this is where random names start getting thrown around, and I was like, was this even a character before, like, right now? She said she's talking on the phone with Jessica after school while she's at home. And she's like, I suggested with casual innocence that maybe Angela, the shy girl who had biology with me, could ask Eric. And Lauren. Who the fuck is Lauren? Lauren was never mentioned prior to this.
No, and also, like, why is she all of a sudden playing matchmaker to people she hates?
Yeah, or barely even knows. Yeah. Lauren, a standoffish girl who had always ignored me at the lunch table, could ask Tyler. I heard he was still available. Like,
why?
Okay. I'm pretty sure Lauren is like a weird frenemy that she has for like the rest of the books while she's in high school. Also, it would have been great to see that character in the movie. I'm just saying.
Just a girl and being like, girl,
I just want
you're in danger, girl.
I just wish there was a rando human that hated Bella in the series. You know? Yeah. She just needed that. I think it would have centered her more.
Yes, just to be like, hey, I don't love you.
It's not all about you, you know?
Yeah.
But we can't have that in everything.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's how I wish in Harry Potter there had just been characters that are like, oh, God damn it.
And then
another year with Harry Potter.
Yeah. But now they're just playing cat and mouse, and I don't like it.
No.
Bella and Edward are doing this where they're going back and forth, and he's like talking in questions. He's like, we can't really be friends, but I'm gonna talk to you. And she's like, but like, why are you talking to me if we can't be friends? He's like, but also like, why would you tell me we can't be friends? Like, why can't you just be like nice for this one class we have together?
Yeah, I was like, you're the one that doesn't want to be friends. Like, we don't have to be friends.
This doesn't stop. Just stop.
Like,
you're confusing me
all the time.
You're like giving me mixed signals, like we're friends, and then other days you're like, you want me to die, but maybe you saved me because you like me, but also I think you didn't want to save me.
But also that's part of being a teenager, I think. Teenagers are stupid.
And then he's like, hey, I heard you were going to Seattle. And she's like, how the fuck did you hear I was going to Seattle? And basically offers her a ride.
Yes, and she's like, well, your truck is a piece of shit anyway, so I'll drive you.
But it's just like, even if that's like rude. The case, Bella, like, you didn't have to say yes.
Yes, just tell him no.
Obviously, this guy is bad news. He's basically trying to gaslight you into a situation. Because, you know, you don't know, we don't know yet. As readers, we don't know what the motive is here. Just that it's really confusing. And I don't appreciate it. And how dare you speak to me that way.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Bella, but you can't treat her like shit all day and then be like, hey, do you want to go on a date? No!
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
And then she says yes, and I'm like,
fuck you, fucking moron.
Dumb bitch.
And this leads us into the final chapter that we read, chapter 5, which is called Blood Type, where we already know this is a vampire book, so this has to be good. It's not. So basically, Edward and Bella, they talk in the cafeteria during lunch prior to biology class. And it's a thing because he's even like, he does it in front of everyone, so everyone saw that they were talking. Because, grand gesture, you're making it public that you're talking, I guess. Even though there's like really nothing going on, but there's something going on. And then he's just like, I'm gonna maybe be friends with you because now we're going to Seattle together. And she's like, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know.
She's like, great. I finally decided that you were worth my time. You should be grateful.
And then, like, she actually starts getting, like, a little, like, testy about it. And he was just like, oh, you've got a temper. And she's like, well, yeah.
Yes, asshole.
I am a person, and you're kind of fucking with my emotions here.
I'm 16. Like, what do you want from me? You have 2 sisters. You know what it's like to live with girls. Like, why are you so stupid?
And out loud, he's just like, I wonder what you're thinking. Because, like, I can't tell what you're thinking. And he's like, well, yeah, you can't tell what people are thinking. He's like, well, most people, you could read their faces. And she's just like, what?
She's like, that makes absolutely no sense.
I have no idea what is going on. Stop speaking in riddles. What are you? And then the bell rings and he's like, hey, I'm ditching biology. Maybe you should ditch biology too. And she's like, nah, I'm just gonna go. And he's like, okay, sue yourself, bitch. But no. She goes to biology. And
I'm just imagining him going like, "Shoot yourself, bitch."
honestly, let's rewrite Twilight.
He's like, "Whatever, cunt," and then he leaves because he's such an asshole.
Because he is.
She's like, I loved him.
And she's like, "That's the day I knew I would marry him."
He's like, "Fuck off." She's like, "Why is he so dreamy?"
I just love the way he stares at me, and like you could tell he just really wants to murder me because he's hungry.
The love of my life. I love how he just watches me while I sleep.
Okay. This chapter I have a problem with as a female.
Okay.
So, in biology class, they're doing blood type testing, right? And
Yes.
Bella automatically becomes like woozy at the thought of seeing blood. I have a problem with this as a woman. Because
Yes.
women see blood all the fucking time.
Yes,
Granted, it is possible, but literally they are just pricking your finger.
Maybe it's not the thought of the blood, but it's the idea of like the pain that comes with blood taken at this way.
Maybe, but she was even getting like grossed out at other people, like having bleeding fingers and stuff. So it wasn't just the reaction of maybe getting like some pain.
Well, I mean, the book is written by a girl.
Yeah, I know, but even she should know. Like, we ain't gonna faint automatically.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe
she's like this.
Maybe she has an irrational fear of blood. I don't know. Stupid. I think I agree with you. I think it's dumb, but I mean, I would say that it's like because of the pain that's associated with blood.
I'm gonna say it's not just because of how she reacts to like the kid that comes in because he got his finger pricked and his finger is still bleeding. Because it's just like, I mean, there's no pain association there. It's just the blood.
I don't know.
But it does in this chapter say, that she could smell blood, and Edward thinks it is weird because people can't smell blood. And no, people can. You could smell blood.
Yeah, it smells like iron.
It's not a pleasant smell, but it's not terrible either.
No, I know the smell of blood.
Yeah, everyone knows the smell of blood.
I've smelled it many a time.
Smell the blood. Oh god. Where else are we? So yeah. She gets woozy at the sign of blood. Mike has to take her to the nurse's office. But Edward is like, no, what? Meets him in the hallway even though he's supposed to be ditching.
Why? Like, you're supposed to ditch. You don't ditch and stay at school. As someone that ditched a lot, like, why would you ditch and stay there?
Yeah.
Especially if school's so small.
Or, if you just needed to ditch the one class you disliked, you go ditch it, like, another classroom and you don't make yourself, like, present.
You're not just hanging out in between classes.
Yeah. Like, we would go ditch in the theater room. Like, that was a thing. So, stupid. But yeah, Edward basically is like, I got this, Mike, and takes her to the nurse. And then he like, I don't know if he flips his hair and gives googly eyes, but he tells the nurse, hey, I think Bella's feeling better, but also she has gym next, but I don't think she's good enough to go to gym. I'm gonna drive her home. Is that cool? And the nurse is like, yeah, that's fine. You're good. It's cool. That's no problem at all. You could totally just kidnap this child from this school, and you could also be ditching school and be truant. It's fine. If we ever tried pulling this shit, I swear to God. But then again, we're not attractive vampire people.
That's true. But also, like, he's supposed to be a child.
Yes. So I don't know how any of this charm works. And they're not like, they don't even follow like the normal rules of vampires where like you could basically mind control them to do what you want. So I don't, what did they call it? Glamoring? They can't do that. So the fuck. Anyways, that irritates me. And so then he basically forces her to go with him in his car to drive her home. Even though she's like, I'm fine. He's like, no, you're not, bitch. But also, like, the fact that he was aggressive about it doesn't sit well with me.
I don't know why he cared so much. Because the whole time he's like, we shouldn't be friends. Like, you should have just let Mike take her to the nurse.
You fucking moron.
This all could have been avoided if you just let her date Mike or whatever.
Right.
You did this.
Oh, and then, the reason she settled down in the car is because he was playing classical music and she knew the song.
So pretentious.
And he's like, oh, you know this music? And she's like, yeah, my mom listens to it because she is weird and outgoing and sometimes a little kitschy. Just like classical music.
I also love that she's like, oh, I've already read all of Shakespeare.
And then, and then all of a sudden she's just like, tells him her entire life story. I mean, she's basically blurted out her life story over the last few chapters of dealing with him. And then he's like, wow, please tell me about your mom. And she's like, this is her description of Renee. She looks a lot like me, but she's prettier, I said. He raised his eyebrows. I have too much Charlie in me. She's more outgoing than I am and braver. She's irresponsible and slightly eccentric. And she's a very unpredictable cook. She's my best friend. End quote.
That's a really weird quote for a child to give.
And it's just like, is this fan fiction?
Yes, all of it is.
It really is. It fucking really is. And that leads to him saying, he tells her that she doesn't seem 17. And that's me.
Yeah, thanks, pedophile.
Yeah, that's me. That's him trying to groom her. Basically. And then she starts asking him about his life, and this is where he says, I don't really remember my parents clearly. Carlisle and Esme have been my parents for a long time now. And knowing his adopted parents' ages as they are presented to Bella, and him saying that, none of this checks out.
You're like, how long have your 23-year-old parents had you?
Since they were 10.
You 17-year-old man? Like, so many red flags.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm closing the book. I only have one more like highlight, and it's him basically telling her not to fall off a cliff into the ocean when she goes on her beach trip that weekend. And I'm just like, is she really that clumsy? Because yes, she is clumsy in the sense that like every time they write a thing about PE, she trips, but like she isn't that clumsy.
No. She can walk a straight line.
Yeah.
She knows where walls are. She's fine.
They just, I don't know.
And also, like, she hasn't fallen that many times.
No.
Like, okay, she's not good at sports, but that's fine. Who cares?
She mentions that she's clumsy more times than she's actually clumsy. Yeah, it all just irritates me. I'm irritated.
Maybe that's just, like, what she thinks is, like, a personality, you know?
Maybe. Are we clumsy? Is that our person? No.
We're clumsy, but it's not our personalities.
No. Yeah. What is our personality? I don't even know anymore, you know? Can you hear me? I could barely hear myself.
Well, that's weird because you're the one talking.
I know. Anyways, so this is where we finish, unless you have more notes for that last chapter.
No, that was pretty much it. I was just like, this is pretentious ass.
Yeah, you're just like, by the end of it, you're just like, just annoyed at the both of them.
She definitely reminds me of like a theater kid, you know?
Yeah, but like
she has that personality for me.
Stephanie Meyer didn't have the confidence to write her as a theater kid. But she should have.
She should have. She should have been like, oh, well, I was in lots of plays. Oh, I did theater with the city. I was in a production of, like Fiddler on the Roof, so I already know the story.
I played a teacup in Beauty and the Beast. But not Chip.
One kid.
But not Chip. One of the siblings. I was in the ensemble.
They were going to put me in the other, but I was too young, so another kid got it. You know how it is. Those are the breaks. You gotta pay your dues, am I right?
Anyways, what were your guys' thoughts on this chapter if you're reading along with us? Because not this chapter, these chapters. Because looking back at it now, I'm just like, I hate teenagers, I hate kids, I hate your mentality, but also, this is a grown-up writing this, right?
Yeah, this is a grown woman writing this. This isn't even written by a teenager, so you can't even, fault teenagers.
Especially with that last description of Renee, you're just like, a kid would never write their mother like that.
No.
The disrespect. My child is looking at me. She said she would never write me like that. She said that with her eyes. Her saying that Renee is her best friend, it's just so stupid. She's your best friend, but as the books go on, she basically falls to the wayside.
You're like, your mom shouldn't be your best friend.
Also, this is a question for later on in the series, but I'm going to ask it now.
Sure.
We know that Charlie knows later on when Bella becomes a vampire because it's disclosed to them. What does Renee think happened to Bella?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do they ever tell her?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think I finished the last book, honestly. So now I'm kind of eager to find out. I
don't think they say what happens to her.
If anybody knows the answer, please let us know. I think
they decide not to tell her. And I remember the chapter where they go to Arizona to or Florida, wherever she moves, to tell them that they have become engaged.
Yeah.
And Renee tells Bella not to marry him because she was like, no, this relationship is not healthy. You guys are so weird. That's a real conversation that she has with her.
Which is understandable because it is kind of hinted at that, Renee and Charlie, they got married super young, and she's probably please think about this, don't rush into it.
Well, not only that, she's even telling Bella, the way you guys, when you move, he moves with you. He always has to be near you. He always has to have, a hand on you. I think it's abusive. I think your relationship's really abusive.
Oh, you need to get out of it.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh my God, how could you say that? He's the love of my life. But, her mom's like, no, you need to run away. And so that's where she kind of, starts to pull away from Renee.
That's disrespectful, especially after she's already told her mom, described her mom as being the idiot, basically.
Her mom was 100% right.
Her mom's a voice of reason.
Super weird.
And I think Charlie only probably, tolerated it because he didn't want to be cut out again,
So. Yeah, because Bella, time and time again, shows that, she would just fucking leave or put her life in horrible danger. He had to go through that whole breakup where she was, throwing herself off motorcycles and doing dumb shit.
So, in conclusion, Bella is a shithead to her parents. Now, children, what I want you to take away from this today is think about the ways you've treated your parents in the past. Everyone, you know what? Not everyone's parents are great, but think of the good things. And think of the times that maybe you thought they were being unfair. Maybe they were doing some shit to protect you, it's not all bad. They're not all just trying to be assholes. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're gonna end it today. You got any more comments?
Nope, there's my train.
There's Natalie got to go.
I gotta go, guys.
All right. So yeah, please leave us some comments if you're also reading along with us. We want to know like what your thoughts were, because me and Natalie are very upset.
Yeah, let us know if you're as harsh on Bella as we are. Maybe you have a different opinion of her than we do.
So we're on all of our social medias as The Body, the Blood, the Michelada. So or BB Michelada, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We now have a Discord server, which, well, basically, if you get the Discord app or just have it on your computer, we have little sections where you can talk about specifically the what the fuck is this book topics, or just about the podcast. It is brand new, so we're still organizing it, but you know, you are welcome to utilize it to chat about what we're talking about. So, or even just general things if you just happen to like us and you want to.
Yeah. Or if you have another book for us to read.
Yes, we'll always take suggestions because we need to find more terrible books to read.
Yes.
But yeah, check us out. I will be putting the link to the Discord in the description of this episode, so you can check that out. And yeah. I hate this.
Have a great day, guys. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.